All right. So today we are going to start another topic, which is process builder. Okay. So this is also an automation tool, and process builder is also known as advanced version of advanced version of both workflow and approval process. If you
Sorry,
understand,
Faizan.
Mhm.
Faizan, sorry. That you are saying when the criteria meets and the task actions will perform. So already the record meets the criteria. So why should we? So why the actions should perform? That's what I'm confused.
See, in the workflow, there are two things that you need to understand. First is that when you talk about an object, for each and every object, you need to write a workflow. Okay, this is what, how workflow works. That is, I'm trying to explain. So, if you have an workflow in place in any particular object, and in that object, if you're creating any data, let's suppose you're creating some data. Okay, this is a new data. So if you create a new data and hit onto the save button, before saving it into the database, what it will do is that it will call the workflow. Okay, call workflow. And in the workflow, you have condition. So whatever the data which is called the workflow, that data should satisfy the condition of the workflow. If the condition is satisfied, then action will be performed. Okay, whatever actions you have mentioned. If this
Okay.
new data which is called the workflow, if the data doesn't satisfy the condition of the workflow, then on that data workflow will not be called and it won't be able to perform. Workflow will not be able to perform any action. Okay, so action depends totally on which data is called the workflow and whether they are able to satisfy the condition of the workflow or not.
Okay. Okay.
Okay,
No, I got. Yeah. Thank you.
and the same
I will
thing used to happen with the approval process also. Any object you need to write a approval process. Okay, and when you hit into the submit for approval button, submit for approval button, then this data, like the data which you are creating, right? Let's suppose there is a new data. So the data on which you are calling the approval process by clicking onto the submit for approval button. Whatever the condition which is written in the approval, if this data is able to satisfy, then only it will follow the approval process. Okay.
Yeah.
If the data is not able to satisfy the condition, then it won't follow the approval process. You will get an error that boss, the condition mentioned in the process builder, this data is not able to satisfy that. Okay, so we'll have to keep in mind is what we'll have to keep in mind, that condition must satisfy. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So in the process builder also the things are going to be the same. In the same way you will create a new data, it will call the process builder. Now whatever the condition which is mentioned in the process builder, it has to satisfy. If it is able to satisfy, then only it is going to perform the action written in the process builder. Okay, everything is same, whether it is validation rule, whether it is process builder, whether it is a workflow, whether it is approval process, these conditions are going to be same, or this is the basic things will be intact, and they are able to execute the action only in the condition of creating a new record and updating some existing record. These are the two conditions only which can be handled by the out of box functionality tools or automation tools that we have in Salesforce. Okay.
Okay.
Okay, so this is an advanced version of both approval process and workflow. So if this is an advanced version, whatever the drawbacks that we have in process workflow and approval process, that is going to be handled or tackled by process builder. So what drawback we have in process workflow? So what drawback we have in workflow? Let's try to understand. See, this workflow is in like condition based action. You can say that one conditions, like one condition will be there if the condition made, the action is going to be performed. Okay, so this workflow is simply a kind of condition based action you can write. If this condition satisfied, perform this action. If this condition is not satisfied, don't perform the action. This is the simple concept of workflow, right? So it is not able to perform if and else condition, right? Let's suppose I have a requirement. I have two fields. Okay, city, weather. Okay, based on the city name, I wanted to update the weather condition. Okay, to pick list I have. So what I want to do is that, let's suppose if city is Chennai, I want to update the weather condition to hot. Okay, if city is Pune, I wanted to update the weather condition as warm. And if city is Shimla, something like that, I wanted to update it to cold, right? So whenever this data is going to be like whenever the data will call the approval process, sorry, workflow, this data is going to check what is the condition, what is the status of city. So at a time user will provide one detail only, like one uh, name only. Either he will provide city as Chennai or Pune or Simla. It's not possible that he will provide multiple names. Okay, so let's suppose I'm creating a record and I have provided Chennai. Okay, so when workflow will check the condition, like in the workflow it can only have one condition, either city is Chennai. Okay, so it will check that it is hot, right? If you are thinking that you can put or condition in workflow, that is not possible. If you remember, in the workflow we only get the and condition. Okay, which means it is not going to check whether the Chennai is hot or warm, or whether it is Pune or it is similar. Okay, even if you do these things in if you have or conditions also, you cannot have multiple actions based on what user value is provided. Okay, at the runtime what user has provided. So in order to achieve this requirement, then when user is providing Chennai, I will update the field to hot. If user is providing Pune, I will update the field to warm. Or if user is providing Simla, I will update the field to cold. You will have to write three separate workflow, right? Because this is just a condition based action. So one condition based action you will have to write in first workflow, then you will have to write another workflow for another condition based action, and you will have to write the third workflow for another condition based action. Okay, in one workflow you cannot tackle this requirement. Okay, however this is possible through process builder, because process builder is talk about if else, which means you will have condition 1, condition 1, action 1. Okay, so which means if the condition is 1 is satisfied, perform the action 2. Else, check condition 2, condition 2, and perform action 2, and also on, which means it can check multiple conditions. Okay, it can have multiple condition, and each and every condition it can have different actions also. So which means this is not a condition based action, it is a if else kind of situation. if else based actions. If this is action, this is like if it's satisfied, like if condition is satisfied, it will have one action. Else, in the else part, it will have action otherwise. Okay, so here, if else conditions can't be you cannot have if else conditions over here, but here you can have if else condition as well. So this is the demerit of workflow, that it cannot handle if else condition. You have to have one condition and actions based on it. But process builder, since it is an advanced version of workflow, it has tackled that limitation, and it came up with if else condition based actions. Okay, now the biggest demerit of or drawback of approval process is that, okay, what is the drawback of approval process? So the biggest drawback of approval process is that you will have to manually click on submit for approval button. Okay, this is unexpectable condition, because let's suppose any sales rep is trying to give more than 10% of the discount, and he doesn't aware that he will have to take first like he will have to take approval first before providing this much of discount. He will simply create the record and sell that particular product. System will never force him to get it approved by the by the account owner, or by the sales owner. Okay, so this is a demerit of the system. Ideally, system should force him to take approval, right? So this submit for approval button, which you need to click, or which is a mandatory activity for firing approval processes on a particular record, is the biggest drawback of approval process. Okay, you will have to manually click on. With approval process, you can automate that as well. Okay, okay, we'll see how we can do through process builder. So this is the theoretical aspect uh, uh, of the automation tool, because most of the interviewer used to ask the questions like, what is difference between workflow and process builder, what is different between approval process and workflow, what are the demerits there in approval process, how we can overcome it through work process builder. So these are the comparison based questions they will ask. That is why I have written down all the important points. Just keep in mind all these things. Okay, and let's do the hands on. Any questions? So here we have this process builder. You click on new and give it some name.
Faizan,
Mm-hmm.
actually, like you said, the example, city and the weather conditions,
Mm-hmm.
we can use by using the formulas and functions in the fields by using tick list. What is the difference to use these and we can perform the action with that also, right?
How you can perform the action?
I mean, if we select Chennai, we can go to hot, like using the pick list in the fields and everything
Yes,
with
yes, yes.
formulas and
Through
functions.
formula you can achieve. Through formula you can achieve. This is a kind of example only. Okay. This is an example only. You will
No,
have to
what?
understand that if we if we have complicated requirement where if city is hot, I want to send an email notification as well, I want to update a field, I want to assign a task. So these activities can be performed through
Oh,
uh,
okay.
right, through formula,
Yeah,
right?
yeah. Got it.
So let's create a process on account object. So you can see over here, this is condition based action. One condition is performed, immediate action, schedule action. If I fill this condition, another condition box will create it. So this loop will keep on getting added. So first criteria I'm putting, whenever the rating is hot, I wanted to perform something. So account rating list. So this is like here condition, same type of conditions like what we have done in workflow. You just have to perform you just have to select the value. And here in the condition, you can have and or depending upon your requirement. If you wanted to use logical or logical and, you can select that. So here you can click and it will have or, but at least two fields should be there. Two rows should be there. So you can add one more row like rating is hot and active should be true. Let's suppose. So if these two conditions are there, you can put or condition. Okay. And if you want and, you can select that. And custom is like you can have your custom logic also. Let's suppose you wanted to have there should be in condition one and condition two there should be and. Okay. And or should be there between the result of it. So something like that you can have, but at least it should have three conditions. Then only this your custom logical and or can be implemented. Okay. So anything you can do and or a combination of and or depending upon what requirement you have. So for now I'm doing this and only. So now if I save it, as soon as I will save it, you see one more branch is created, and this branch is keep on growing. Okay. So you can have any number of condition, and you can have any number of condition based action. So this is a condition based action flow. One more demerit of workflow is that you cannot predict the order of execution. But here, each and every it is going to be executed in the way you will construct it. Okay, so everything is going to be executed in that particular order only. So first this branch is going to be checked and executed, then another branch is going to be checked and executed. So everything is going to be executed in the same manner you are constructing it. Okay. This demerit is also handled in process builder. However, in the workflow, there is no such thing. You cannot predict the order of execution. Now, these are the actions that we can perform through process builder, and you see there are a lot many of it. Okay. In approval process, we have just task, email, outbound email, and updating field. But here we have lot of details, right? You can call an Apex class, you can create a record, you can send an email alert, you can call a flow, post to chatter, processes, quick action, okay, send custom notification, submit for approval, update record. There are a lot many of it. Okay, so these are the actions that you can perform through process builder. So let's get started with doing something. So let's focus on update record first. I wanted to update record. So in workflow, you can only update the fields which is available in that particular object. However, in the process builder, you can update your field, your parent field, and your child field as well. Okay. So this field has what kind of relationship? So it has contact as child. Okay. So it can update the contact, lead, opportunities, whatever the child objects it have, it can update their field as well. Okay, or it can update the account field. So if you wanted to update simply account field, select the first option. But if you want to update contact, you can select the second option. Here you can find contacts, opportunities, or whatever the related field it has, whatever the child field it has. Okay, child object field it can update as well. So just keep in mind, through process builder you can update your child fields as well. However, in the workflow, that particular thing was not possible. One more thing you will get to see now, that I have updated this account source as phone inquiry in the workflow, and now in the process builder I will update it to web. So interviewer sometime ask that I am updating the same field through workflow and process builder as well. I have multiple workflow, multiple process builder, and I am updating different values through all these things. So at the end of the day, what value it will have? Okay, so we'll check that as well. Like, it is they're like when workflow and process builder both are going to be fired on the account object itself. One is updating it to phone inquiry, uh, that we have done yesterday, and here I am going to update it with the web. So I wanted to see that also, that at the end of the day whose value is going to sustain on the object. Okay, so this is like in my first action. I can have another option. So this is how, like, the records are updated thing is there. Now submit for approval. So if you remember, when we created an approval process, the biggest drawback we noticed is that we'll have to manually go ahead and click onto the submit for approval button. Okay, that thing you can automate through this approval process, sorry, this process builder. What you will have to do is that you will have to simply, in the approval process, you will have to simply select this specific approval process and then search your process builder. So this demo approval process we have created yesterday, so I have searched that particular thing. Okay, and then you can submit it for, like, with the current user itself, you can submit it for approval. So now what will happen is that whenever one record is going to be created, it is going to check the condition of the approval process. Okay, so, and it will check the condition of the process builder as well. Why? Because this process builder is going to perform the action. If the condition of the process builder is not satisfied, which means if your data is not able to fire the process builder, then this action is not going to be performed. If this action is not going to be performed, then whether your process builder condition is satisfied or not doesn't matter. It will not send the approval for, like, it is not going to submit it for approval processes. Okay, so both condition must get satisfied. If both condition will satisfy, automatically this action is going to perform, and your record is going to be submitted for approval automatically. Save this one as well. So this is the second action we have. Send custom, these, leave these, all these things. Post to chatter. So if you see over here, for each and every object we used to have chatter. Okay, chatter is like, what information you wanted to have for that particular record. So whatever the information I wanted to have this for this particular record, let's suppose today I wanted to have some special, I have worked on this account and I wanted to convey some special information for everybody who is going to come and see this particular record. So this is a high priority account. Unlisted. Okay, so this information I wanted to update on this particular. So this is a record level chatter. Okay, this is a record level chatter. And in the home also you have chatter. So anybody you wanted to tag within this Salesforce environment, like you have a lot of different type of users in Salesforce. uh, Within the organization, if you guys wanted to talk or communicate with each other, then you can communicate with each other as well through here. Okay, simply you can put anything, and you can simply tag that person, and this person will get an email notification that somebody has conveyed something to me. Okay, so this is a kind of if everybody in the organization using Salesforce, they can communicate with each other through this chatter option. However, Salesforce is trying to replace this chatter with the Slack. They have acquired Slack. Slack is a company. It is a kind of uh, mm, a chatter application only. People within the organization can communicate with Slack. This is very famous application, which is last year Salesforce has acquired it, and now they are trying to integrate it with Salesforce environment. So most of the organizations which is using Salesforce, now they are moving into Slack. So on this record, I wanted to have some information that this is for testing post to chatter action, something like that, and save it. So now whenever the condition is performed, it will perform all these three actions. Okay. Let's suppose if my rating is cold, I want to perform some other action. Save it. What other actions we have? So let's suppose I wanted to send an email alert. Okay, same email alert like what we have sent through. So you just have to select an email alert from here. Okay, so you see there is no email alert available. So if you remember, we have created email template. We haven't created email alert till now in this org. Okay, so what is email template? What is email alert? If you remember, email template is a format, like defining your subject, body, and on what object you wanted to fire it. Okay, or you can make it dynamic by selecting some fields dynamically. Like these are the things you can have, like blueprint of what email you wanted to send to your customer, and that email template you can refer in process builder. Okay, sorry, workflow. And here in the process builder, you don't have an option to have an email alert, so you can create a new email alert. And this email alert is not going to do anything. It is simply going to uh, we have this custom email template. Just search it. So this is just a combination of email template. That's it. Okay. One template you can select, and you can have your recipe like to whom you wanted to send this alert. That's it. So this is available. Select it and save it. So this is how you can send an email alert. What other actions we have? Creating a record. So let's create record. Create contact. So I wanted to create a related. So this action was not there in workflow. Okay, so whenever client have a requirement where he wants to create related records as well, or doing all these things as well, you will have to simply suggest. Okay, so we cannot do like we cannot create records through workflow. We have to go for the process builder if you want us to create records as well. Okay, so these are the things you will have to understand. These tools are not like, don't just see how to use it. You will have to keep everything in your mind, that what are the possibilities, like what level of customizations you can do through each and every individual tools that you are learning here. Okay, what actions can be performed through process builder, what actions can be performed through workflow, what demerits it have, what merit, like what demerit this has. Like, depending upon the different requirement, you have to analyze the pros and cons of all the all the automation tools. And the biggest pro that, this workflow is having is that it is faster than process builder. Okay, and one more thing, on the YouTube there is a channel Salesforce Developer. Okay, and that channel is created by Salesforce itself. Do visit that channel regularly, and if you search a video on the order, execution time difference between workflow and process builder, it is in the fraction of seconds only. But still, one thing is that for sure is that workflow is faster than process builder. Traditionally people using workflow for that purpose only. So if you have normal requirement, go for workflow, because you why you will use process builder if the requirement is not complex. Why you wanted to delay your application, you wanted to make it as smoother as possible, so go for workflow blindly. Okay, so which record I wanted to create? So let's suppose here I will be creating a contact record. Okay, last name will be there, so you can use this field reference option. Whatever the account name will be there, with the same name I wanted to create a contact record. Okay, and in order to have the reference, ID should be selected with field reference account ID. Okay, you can have other details also, like phone number of what will be the phone number in this object, what will be the different things in this particular object. That depends on you, whatever the fields which is there, you can update all of these things. You can provide some manual manual selected values as well. Okay, that totally depends on you, how you wanted to frame it. Save it. So total we have 3 to 5 actions till now. One more thing you can do over here is that which is calling another process. So you have, when you have multiple processes, you can call one process from another process. Okay, I will talk about this after some time. Let's just first activate this one and try to check whether all these 5 actions are getting performed through my process builder or not. So for that you need to activate it. And one of the biggest demerit of process builder is that once you activate it, you won't be allowed to make any changes. Okay, so it's not like that, just deactivate it and do the changes and then again activate it. No, boss, once you have done it is final. No more active deactivate or changes is allowed. Okay, there is no way to make changes now. Okay, whether you activate it, whether you deactivate it, doesn't matter. You will not be able to make any changes now. Everything is going to be grayed out. So what is an option to make the changes? You will have to clone it. Okay, cloning is like creating a new version of it, and through cloning you can just create another version and you can do the changes, for the changes on top of whatever you have done over here. So let's go to account object. Let's create a new record. Process builder test. And what action, what condition we have? So the condition is very simple. Rating should be equals to hot, active should be yes. Rating is hot. Active, yes. Save the record. So you can see this chatter thing is coming over here, which means whatever the values we had, it has been. And you see this is automatically submitted for approval. This record is logged, which means it has automatically submitted for approval. This uh, this account source is also updated to web. Okay. So all these three action is getting performed. Updating the record, yes, it is updating the record. What record needs to be updated? Account source should have value as web. Let's check account source. Account source is web. Okay. What other actions? Submit for approval. Boss, have you submitted it for approval? Yes, we did it. It is logged. So submitted for approval. Check the approval history. It is submitted. These two person is need to approve it. We haven't clicked on submit for approval button. Everything is happening automatically. Okay. How it is happening? The condition of the approval process and the process builder has satisfied. That's why it is sent for approval. Open activities is task created, yes, as part of the workflow that we have. Through that, task is created. Why it is firing the workflow as well? Because the condition of the workflow is also performed. So understand the order of execution. First, workflow is going to be fired. Its action is going to be performed. Then approval process is going to be fired. It's whatever the things, it is condition is going to be checked, and then process builder used to fire. So whatever update which is done by process builder, so let's suppose on the same, sorry, whatever the action which is done by workflow, whatever the field updates the workflow will do initially, it will get overridden by process builder. So workflow has updated it to phone inquiry, and process builder has updated it to web. So at the end of the day, you will see whatever the process builder will update. And why it has higher order of execution? Because it is an advanced version of both workflow and process builder. So if you are doing something through workflow and workflow and approval processes, before the introduction of process builder, then it needs to be overridden by process builder. Okay. So if the same field is getting updated through workflow and process builder, then whatever process builder value it will have, at the end of the day, that value will get updated because it has higher order of execution. Workflow, approval process, then process builder comes into the picture. And if you take the validation rule as well, then first of all, a validation rule used to check. So validation rule, workflow, approval process, then process builder. This is an order of execution. Understand? Any question on that? So these three actions are performed. Let's make the rating to cold. Save the record. Now check what action we have. Send an email alert. Create contact. So see contact is created or not. You can see contact is created happily. And if we check the Gmail, you can see it is sending the mass email as well. So everything is performing well. Okay. Now let's suppose I wanted to have one flow to be called from another flow. Okay. So on the account object itself, I wanted to have one more flow. So I have just one flow which is record change, and active as well. I will write one more flow, and this time I have writing it to called to be called from another flow. Okay, so whenever you are writing a flow that needs to be called from another process builder, or you are writing a process builder to be called from another process builder, then you need to make it as it invoked by another process. This is the third type you need to select. Right now we have, like previously we have created it as a record change. Whenever record will change, it needs to be fired, but this one is going to be fired from another process builder only. So let's suppose I have another process builder which is written on account object itself, and save it, and whenever the account rating is hot, this one is creating an opportunity record. Okay, so close date and all we have selected. Opportunity, creating the record as an opportunity, save it, and let's just activate this one. Now as we discuss, if we wanted to make any changes into an existed process builder which is activated before, then you are not allowed to make changes even after deactivating the process builder. The other option that you have is to clone. So if you wanted to create a complete new process after cloning it, you can select this option. Else you can create simply a new version of it, select the new version of it and click onto the save button. Another version will get created. Okay, and how to check that another version? So now if I go to setup and click onto the process builder, you will see if you expand this one, it will have two versions. And as soon as you create the second version, the previous version automatically get deactivated. Okay, and the latest version will get activated. Okay, so whatever the version it has doesn't matter. You're at the end of the day you will have only one version of it, the latest one, and you can activate that. So here in the action, I wanted to call another process, and here you can see the another process is available, and here you need to pass on the object reference. So if you are writing the process builder on account object and the another process builder that you are calling is also written on account object, simply select the account record. Okay, if because this is going to pass the variable. Okay, so from this process builder you need to pass the record of the account object data which is firing this particular process builder. So okay, And if you have written another process on another object, then you can pass the related record as well. Like, you need to simply select the contact and all. So from this account, it will take the contact ID, like related contact ID, and it will pass it to the another process that you have written over here. Okay, but I don't need contact ID, it is also requiring the account ID itself. So we'll select the account object over here. Okay, so let's see whether the another process builder action is going to be performed or not. So here, let's make it hot. Okay, let's create another record. Okay, you see account is created, contact is created. Okay, so opportunity must be created over there, but I have not linked it with the account. So here I'm not able to see that. Okay, so in order to link your opportunity into the account itself, you will have to create another version. Let's create another version of it. And there we will simply add one more row, and the account ID should be updated with account ID. Then only linkage, like relationship, will be created. Activate it again, and now let's create another record. Save this record. You can. Mhm. Uh-huh. We have just added that, right?
Yes.
We have cloned it. I think it is not visible here
No, no,
in the
no.
version.
It will always, you will always see the latest version. We are calling it in account when rating is cold, and what is the condition? This is rating is hot. That is why it is not working. So we'll have to make the rating as cold over here as well, because this condition is getting failed. Here we are passing it, calling it when rating is cold, and here it is checking the rating as hot. So this is the issue. All right, now just create account once again. Getting cold. So you can see this is now creating the